All right. My name is Kareem. We're going to talk about time series in the age of transformers and the importance of causality and locality. So time series, as everyone in this room knows, is just a measurement, some measurement as a function of time, right? Predicting future behavior can influence current actions, for example, in health and also at the LS. If we know something bad is about to happen, we can act. So just kind of briefly about transformers here. So transformers take in a sequence and they output a new sequence. They've revolutionized ML through large language models, and multi-head attention is the primary component. So that is shown here in these yellow boxes right here. So what they do is they update input based on similarity to other input points. They capture complex long-range scales or dependencies and their scale. So self-attention, however, is an all-to-all process. So it calculates the similarity between sequence entries, and it creates new representations based on these weighted averages of these sequences. So if you look on the figure to the right, you can see the word "it" has a strong correlation to the an animal. And that's because it refers to the an animal. So it is updated based on weights from the similarity scores it gets here. But as we see, this is an all-to-all process. So it is looking at similarities both before and after itself. This makes sense in language where words can be moved around, but it doesn't make sense in time series because you can't look into the future. Moreover, if you want to predict in time series what's going to happen tomorrow, you probably shouldn't look 100 years in the past. Whereas LLMs, the attention looks everywhere. So this all-to-all does not really fit the kind of inductive biases we would expect to have for a time series. So causality, what do we want to do? Well, we want to get rid of looking forward into the future right there. And for locality, we don't want to look too far in the past. And so what I'm showing here are similarity scores on the left and the attention weights on the right. And the way we do that is for the attention, we introduce this causal and local mask. So the locality here is a decaying mask, and we use a power law in this decay. So we take the similarity scores on the left, we add the causal local mask, we get out the mask scores and and we send it through the softmax, which gives us our weights for the attention. Now, what I want to point out here is that we still see correlations outside of the mask. And that's really important because the way attention works is it attends to areas of high correlation. And so those still stand out, but we're removing correlations that are very far away. So this is a balance between attention's ability to find these correlations and as well imposing this locality bias. All right, so I'm going to show you some experiments. Just quickly, we use 7 real-world data sets. A few of them are on electricity, one is on weather, another one is on SF Bay Area traffic. So a couple of these span a couple of years, some of them are within 1 year. We predict 4 different sequence lengths into the future, and then we use mean squared error and mean absolute error. So I have the summary table here. The first number before the slash is if you get first place, the second number is second place. And we can see that PowerFormer, which is our model, outperforms all the other models. And in case these names don't mean too much to you, PowerFormer is what we've been talking about, the local and causal attention. Patch TST, this is the model that we built PowerFormer on top of. So we're doing much better than that. One fits all is interesting because this model is twice as large as ours, and it's built on top of a pre-trained GPT-2. So it's larger and it's seen a lot more data, and we're doing much better than it. Totem uses tokenization. This is just another interesting model, so we do much better than that as well. Another thing that we like about PowerFormer is that it's simple, and so it allows us to interpret what's going on here. So what's happening is on the right we have these similarity scores here, and the colors indicate the weight of the masking. So the larger the number, the faster the drop off of the power law. In the inset are the scores, the main body of the plot are the weights. And as the score, or as the coefficient, the decay coefficient increases, we see this bimodal distribution start to appear. The mode on the right are the local causal, the local weights. The mode on the left are the non-local weights. And so we see that begin to grow. But what is more interesting is that if I take a specific decay constant, the solid line here is after I apply the mask. The dashed dotted line is before I apply the mask. So without applying the mask, the network itself already learns to impose a causal bias. You can see the bimodal distribution there before we even apply the mask. And so when we apply the mask, it only separates the modes. So it further extends our bias. And so we find this to be very interesting because the mask itself is constant. So the network could instead learn to mitigate it or try to remove the mask, but instead of trying to remove it, it in fact makes its effects even stronger. So we found that to be really interesting. So PowerForm, what does it do? It improves forecasting accuracy. We get state-of-the-art performance. It prioritizes local contributions while maintaining data-specific correlations. For high-frequency components, what we observe is that it amplifies local contributions and diminishes long-time contributions. For low frequency, we're still able to capture long-time contributions. There's improved interpretation. So we're able to have these distributions of the attention weights, kind of make some sense of it, or at least do our best to do so. And finally, there's a possibility for increased efficiency, right? So we look here, we're not really attending too much to this area. So if we just cut that out and we don't calculate correlations there, then basically attentions will scale linearly with time instead of quadratically. So that's another potential improvement that we can have with PowerForm. So in summary, transformers are sequence-to-sequence models designed for text, but they lack causal implicit biases that are important for time series. PowerForm adds causal and local implicit biases to the attention. The attention mechanism further reinforces these biases. PowerFormer outperforms all other models, and as well we see the model further increasing the bias through training. Then PowerFormer also has the possibility to speed up the evaluations. So I'd like to thank Ben and Michael, who are my advisors, and of course NERSC.